Good morning and welcome to Inside South Florida. I'm Dave Azer. Today, holiday party season is all about family, fun, and of course, food. A weight loss expert drops by to tell you how to enjoy yourself without packing on the pounds. Plus, ever wonder what happens when you die or who you were in a past life? We've got some incredible insight. And all the hip and happening holiday hairstyles, so you can look great at your parties and into New Year's. That and more as Inside South Florida starts now. Whether it's eggnog, lasagna, or brisket, the holiday season's all about great but fattening food. Here with advice on how to enjoy your feast but not hate yourself in the morning is Dr. Charles Goldsmith, whose weight loss program has helped over 70,000 people lose over 1 million pounds. Dr. G, thanks for coming in.
Hey, my pleasure.
It's a great time of year. You see family, you go to parties, but you eat a lot of really bad food.
You do.
And you could put on a ton of weight if you're not careful.
You do.
Okay, so let's talk about some ways to maybe curb that a little bit.
Okay.
Let's start with this scenario. You're going to a holiday party that night. So how do you start planning your day calorically to get you ready for the festival of food that's about to happen?
You just gave us the key word, planning.
Okay.
And it really does take some planning. The first thing is, in my view, is eat before you eat. That's the key, because you know when you get there, there's going to be all kinds of great stuff, and the temptations are going to be just too much for most of us. But if you're not hungry and you've eaten something beforehand, it makes it a lot easier. So what I would suggest most of our patients is to go ahead and eat some nuts, some berries, maybe a protein bar. We have some of those in our shop as well. And drink a lot of water and get a little full before you go to that party, because if you're not, it's going to be a struggle.
But we have to be realistic, because that sounds fine, but nobody's going to be eating nuts and berries exclusively when there's lasagna and cake and stuff too, right? So you're going to be eating a little bit when you go to this thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is eat before you go.
Right.
So you're a little full. Now, once you get there, now it's another set of issues, because you're right. You're going to have lasagna and all of those things that are very difficult to turn away. So at that point, you need to make good choices. So what are those good choices? Well, what we tell patients to do is eat more protein. And there's plenty of things on the buffet where you can do that. There's turkey, there's lean meat, there's chicken, there's veggies, there's all kinds of things, some fresh fruit. But you want to stay away from the potatoes, the pasta, the rice, those sorts of things.
What is the, gosh, I don't even know if there's an answer to this. What's the single worst thing that you could eat of all your options?
I don't think there's one single worst thing. I think what we try and tell our patients is to try and stay away from the carbs as much as they can. But you know, moderation is the key. You're never not going to have one slice of that pizza, but just eat one slice. Don't eat the whole pie. You're going to have a drink when you go out. Have a glass of wine, but don't have the whole bottle. That's what we try and get our patients to do. And over the long run, that's effective. One
of the things I want to talk about with you is managing expectations, because realistically, you might put on a pound or two, but maybe that's not so bad during the holiday season.
I think, you know, great expectations is really important. And you have to have the right expectations during that holiday time. I don't know if you know this, but about 8.5 pounds is the average weight gain for people in the United States from Thanksgiving to New Year's. That's a lot of weight.
That's a lot of weight.
A lot of weight.
Yeah.
So we tell our patients, listen, if you remain stable and you haven't gained weight, you're 8 pounds ahead of the game. And most people can identify with that. And even if you gain a pound or two, it's not the end of the world. Don't beat yourself up, because it is a very difficult time. But if you lose, hey, that's even better. But you know, you have to manage expectations, and if you do that, you're ahead of the game, because if you expect to continue to lose weight 8 or 10 pounds a month, during this time you're simply not going to do it most of the time. Some people are great and they can continue to do it. And our program is such where it helps them to do that, but it is very difficult. You're right.
One of the things that I have heard is that it's better to eat carbs if you're going to eat carbs earlier in the day. Is that true? And if so, is a work holiday lunch a better time to pick out than a holiday dinner?
Yeah. In my opinion, no. in my opinion, carbs are carbs. Okay. And whether it's in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening, it's probably not much different. Certainly later on in the evening, they tend to stick to you more clearly, because your activities of daily living tend to slow down, you know, late at night. So given the choice, and I'm going to eat a carb, I would eat it earlier in the morning. But on the other hand, when you eat carbs early in the morning, what happens? Well, you produce this stuff called insulin. in response to the carbs, and that's not a good thing, because when you have all this insulin floating around, it makes it much more difficult to burn fat. So we try and keep the carbs low all day, and it depends on each individual sensitivity. Some people can eat carbs all day and they're like this, and other people look at them and they gain weight.
Right.
That shirt gets a little tight.
Well, we wouldn't know anything about that around here.
We wouldn't.
Tell me about Dr. G's weight loss and wellness group.
Well, I'm a gynecologist, OBGYN, and practiced for 30 years, a long time. In 1993, I stopped doing obstetrics and started a weight loss program because I had a little bit more time, to develop this. And originally it was just for my patients, but they really did so well that after a while I recognized that this was something that was really needed in the community. And so I set a separate practice doing weight loss, and I've done that now for, 18 years or so. And we've seen over 100,000 patients. And a couple of years ago, we decided to take this idea that we had and franchise it so other people could afford the benefits of the program. I clearly couldn't see everybody. And we've done that. We've opened up, I believe it's 60 now. We have another 10 or 20 in the pipeline. And we have clinics in South Florida, as well as New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, and internationally, Australia, Honduras, the Dominican Republic.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because we have a ton of viewers in Honduras. The show's very big there. If people do want to get a hold of you locally, how do they find you?
Go to our website, www.drgsweightloss.com, and we have a lot of good tips there. We have a lot of good information, and they can hone down into any office they want to choose, whatever is closest to them, even if they do live in Honduras or the Dominican Republic, and they can give us a call, and we'll answer any question they may have.
All right, great to have you here.
Hey, it's great to be here.
Eat well over the next few weeks, would you?
We will do it. Take care.
All right, thanks.
All right, bye.
And just as we need to watch our portion sizes, so do restaurants and chefs. Dr. G recently partnered with Miami Culinary Institute to educate chefs and consumers about healthy eating. Chef John, thanks for coming out, man. Good to see you.
My pleasure.
Executive director, chef, bass player, I just found out. Talented guy.
Thank you.
Let's start with the Miami Culinary Institute. Tell us about it.
An amazing opportunity came my way about 3 years ago to open and build from the ground up a brand new culinary school with a brand new mission. In my opinion, over the years of being a restaurateur and an entrepreneur, we can do a better job of training our culinary professionals. And I think the amazing folks at Miami-Dade College saw it the same way. So we've built a new school from the ground up. It's the foundation is in sustainability. Our students don't really start with knives in their hands. They start in our gardens, and we learn where does it grow, how does it grow. Then we'll work with that product, bring it into the building, teach all of our students how to cook, and then at the end of the day, what do we do with the garbage? We separate it, we have a recipe for compost, it goes back to the ground, and every day we have this lesson in sustainability.
And it's a great concept. How original is it? How many other institutes around the state, around the country are like this? Do you know?
I think everybody's talking about it. It's important. We're moving in that direction, but I believe we're really pioneers, and we're going to be blazing a trail in what does sustainability really mean. And we're not sure yet, but I think we're going to find out.
I would think my naivete is that when kids grow up and they want to be chefs, I think they would probably want to bake and make the really sort of like fattening stuff. So how do you teach them that healthy eating is glamorous and and sexy? How do you make cooking something healthy a little sexier?
Well, never has food been so entertaining, and you can't turn on TV now without seeing something about it. So no matter what it is, I think it has that sex appeal to it. But I think smart chefs in training will agree that if you want to have a very successful future in this, find a niche that is very important. And I believe the sustainability and healthy is very important. And indeed, we have 80 million baby boomers getting ready to retire who've been eating maybe not appropriately for many, many years. So who's going to take care of them? And I think the difference between this facility and that facility is going to be the food. How can we make healthy food taste great?
And to that end, you actually just had an event. I know that you worked in conjunction with Dr. G. Tell us about it.
Yes. We actually created a competition where our students worked competitively, and they will be the first to tell you that they couldn't believe how hard it was to make the food taste good under the requirements that Dr. G's program has.
Well, which were what?
Well, there's a very specific formula of carbohydrates and proteins and fats, and to work within those proportions to make a plate of food look beautiful and taste great and be filling. So that was the challenge, but that's exactly the way our students need to be challenged, because that is our future. We have to think about it. We have to make a change.
And I wanted to ask you as well, for people watching at home, it's funny because we just spent some time talking about all the dangers of holiday eating and all the lasagna and the cakes and the pies and what have you. So people are watching and they want to grab a couple of items from the supermarket, the grocery store for healthier eating. What are a couple of suggestions you might give people to cook healthier at home?
I think the main thing is educate yourself. Find some reference material. Find a book, a website that you believe in, and do a little bit of research and allow yourself to play a little bit as well.
Yeah, because personally, I'm sort of learning how to cook now, and it's fun to make something and maybe it's not great, but the next time you make it and it's a little bit better. So even you that's, I don't know, cook thousands of meals in your day or whatever it is, are you still experimenting? Are you still playing? Are you still learning?
I am, and my biggest experimentation is to try to figure out what my kids will eat. And so I prepare for them. If they like it, I've hit a home run.
Okay, that's a great question. So again, for parents watching who have kids that have to eat their vegetables, what's the solution? How do you get kids to eat vegetables?
Have them cook it with you. Have them be a part of the process. They love it that much more when they've been a part of the preparation process.
Okay, how do people find out about the Miami Culinary Institute and get a hold of you?
www.miamidadeculinary.com. We're with Miami-Dade College.
And the last question is, what is a cooler way to go out on the town and let's just say pick up women? Is it a chef's apron or a bass guitar?
Chef's jacket.
Yeah?
Without a doubt.
Really? Cooler
Yeah.
than a bass guitar?
It wasn't that way years ago, but it's hip now.
Well, listen, I know what I'm doing for Halloween next year. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Yes.
Hopefully Santa watched those interviews. Not for nothing, maybe some broccoli and water instead of cookies and milk next time. Just saying. When we come back, what happens when you die and what about past lives? That and more as Inside South Florida continues.